skin, so gorgeous. We thank the life gorgeous. Thank the life gorgeous. I love the life gorgeous. Its torso is so tight.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Life Gorgeous. My name is Craig Ayers, Mr. Craig Kilborn, a.k.a. Lord Kilby. And this is where I share my magical life in hopes of improving your life. I talk about young people a lot, and we've got one today. He's a young person, at least in my eyes. He's an old friend. He's a writer. He's a writer on Family Guy. Used to work at MTV. I don't know if he likes pizza more than hamburgers, cheeseburgers, but we're going to find out because he likes his cheeseburgers and his pizza, even though he's svelte. His name is Damien Fahey. I like that name. Let's bring him in. Mr. Damien Fahey.
Feels good. Feels good to be here.
Yeah. By
the way,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Turn up your mic a tiny bit, just a little bit.
Sure. How's that?
That's better.
How's that?
Yeah, I want you to match my mellifluous tones. Sure. What were you going to say?
First of all, young kid, I'm 43 years old. So
that's kind of young for him.
I've got a colonoscopy under my belt as well. So not exactly
good.
a child.
I got my colonoscopy around 42. Yeah, that's interesting. Clean as a whistle. Clean as a whistle.
Yeah, same here, Craig.
I didn't know we were going to start with this. The vodka kind of cleans it all out. So how many years have you been a writer on that wonderful hit show Family Guy?
It'll be, we're in the middle of a strike right now, but it'll have been 10 years in November.
Wow. Is it a blast?
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best, most fun job you could ask for. I think it's the best writing job in Hollywood. I really do.
Yeah, there's a lot of freedom. I remember years ago, I think Alex Sulkin asked me to watch an episode, and I watched it. I go, oh my God, so many jokes. And they can then say, that's like Christopher Columbus. And they can then show a ship of Christopher Columbus on one of the ships. And it's just like, there's so much freedom. But did you guys in your writers meeting roll your eyes with the political correctness going a little crazy sometimes?
Well, I think like when, during the start of the pandemic, I remember sort of us noticing that we probably needed to change a little bit, tonally, I guess. But I think we've been doing that for a while now. But I think there were some adjustments that were made. And then I feel like recently we've sort of course corrected to not back to what we used to be, but sort of the midway point between what Family Guy used to be and maybe what we became at the beginning of the pandemic.
But don't you guys, the show, you like doing shock jokes or not?
Yeah. I mean, yes, but I think it's a little misleading to call them shock jokes because I think it's just like we just like jokes.
Right.
If they happen to be shocking, that's kind of a bonus. But we don't. The bullseye is definitely not to shock. The bullseye is to just be funny.
Right.
And so whatever gets us to funny is that's our aim, I think.
And in the writer's room, when you guys are working on a specific joke, is it the norm still where everyone will say 5 inappropriate jokes to get to the one that you can get on the air? Is that still how it kind of works?
That often happens. Yeah, that often happens where I mean, the writer's room, it's so funny because we have this, we have Disney HR training every year. And, it's a bunch of Family Guy writers in HR training. And so the rules for HR are a little different in the writer's room.
Right.
So we can, we have to find the joke, and sometimes finding the joke is, it's a bit like seeing how the sausage is made. It gets messy. It gets a little, it can be offensive because you're trying to find you're trying to find the joke. And so you're going all over the place and you're just kind of pitching. Yeah. So it can definitely get a little, but it's nothing for the most part. I would say 90% of the rooms, like people go, oh, you're in a Family Guy, you work at Family Guy. You must be, you guys must be stoned all day. How do you think of that stuff? And I said, no, actually, like most guys are fathers and in long-term marriages. And, that it's a bunch of kind of, people who are,
you're not renegades.
Husbands.
Yeah.
No, we're not renegades at all. It's husbands and wives. And maybe the show used to be that when people were younger, but it's like, it's husbands, wives, mortgages, that kind of a thing. So it's not like it's not crazy. It's not like a frat house.
Because I'm a perfectionist, now I want you to I turn my headphones up. I want you to turn your mic down. I heard a little reverb. I'm a perfectionist, Damien. This is how This is how I roll in
let's
my
be honest.
Den.
You're a professional broadcaster.
Yes.
Always have been, always will be.
Yeah, you were a fan of the old show, and you loved when I said gorgeous. You were the guy that really
loved it.
Clung to gorgeous. Why is that? Oh, you are. Whenever I see you, it's gorgeous. Why is that?
Oh, gorgeous. That show was just so funny. I mean, it was really its own thing. I grew up a big late night fan, and I think, this is kissing your ass a little bit, but
that's okay.
And I realize that, and I know you're gonna like that. Yeah. But I think it's like what you do on Instagram. It's this great character, and I think so many people took it seriously, and obviously there's probably a little bit of truth to it, but it's you, but it's like turned up to 11, and your show was just, the show usually is about like the guests, and your show was about you. It was like about the guests meeting you, which is why I love the Colbert Report, because he did that, but I feel like you did that in a way differently, obviously.
Yeah,
but
that's
you pioneered that.
Herzog told me that once. He said, Colbert's doing some stuff you do. But I was going to say, I don't really deconstruct it, but I know in life, there are a bunch of people like yourselves and others that know I'm just doing a little shtick. And then the others, of course, are enraged by it, which is part of why I do it, because I think in life, we have a bunch of malcontents, and then we have a bunch of relatively positive, happy people. And I just was trying to diffuse the rage from the malcontents. But it's also, now I am deconstructing. We can't control the way we look. And I used to say I should look like, I'm a blonde haired guy, but I'm sarcastic. I should look like somebody else, like Clive Owen or David. I think I said David Byrne or somebody. I was saying I should be a brunette. I should be a brown haired guy with maybe a little more rugged skin.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But no, I loved Gorgeous because it was like what I really liked about your show too is one of my favorite things was every late night show had an announcer. Alan Coulter was on Letterman. And and he would announce, tonight we have, blah 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 and blah blah. And now David Letterman, he'd do a little joke before a man who, and every late night show didn't have the host announcing, introducing the host, and you did that, and it was so subtle too. I don't think even most people even knew maybe it was you, because you did this like big grandiose voice. But I thought it was so funny, and you would announce guests, and I forget which one, but Alec and Goldie love this one where it's like, we got him, and it was like some B/C level actor or something. And it was just, I had the jokes had already started in the introduction.
Yeah. By the way, it was not a bullet point for me to talk about my show, but now I'm enjoying this. No. We would have I would have to announce the guests for the week, on Monday after Act 1, before he brought out the first guest. I'd say, hey, later this week, we've got, and British hypnotist Paul McKenna. We got him,
Yeah, that's right.
We got him.
And it was like so quick and such an insult, but it was like,
and I guess I was mocking the the bookers on the show, but that was enjoyable. Everything was mocking.
Yeah.
But you were on. So you were, oh, by the way, before I forget, do you have any prediction on this writer's strike? I know they're talking. Is it getting closer or you have no inside information?
I got to say, I thought we were really close a couple weeks ago. I don't know when this is going to come out, but I thought we were really close a couple weeks ago. And then, I have no idea now. I'm hoping I have a feeling maybe the next couple months. I hope if it goes into mid-November, then it's 2024 at some point. So because Hollywood shuts down from Thanksgiving to New Year's. So I really hope it's over soon. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm on Family Guy, which is I want to say almost like the 1% of writing jobs, and I know even Family Guy writers are starting to feel it. So hopefully we reach a resolution soon.
This will probably air in a couple weeks, mid-September, during the football season. I don't know if you're a sports fan. We're going to find that out. But I wanted to just quickly go to MTV. So you were on TRL. Was that a difficult gig to get? That had to be kind of competitive, right?
Yeah, I had about 4 auditions to get that gig. I was a local radio DJ in Boston, doing part-time, going to college, and the promotions director at the radio station was friends with the casting director at MTV, and from the promotion director came to me and said, "Hey, I have a friend who works at MTV in casting, and she's really frustrated. She's been all over the country to different radio stations, and she's trying to find the next MTV VJ. And I think you'd be really good." And back then I had like crazy boy band, spiky hair, super gelled, right. And the whole kind of early 2000s look. And so I was fresh off the heels of a terrible local television audition in Boston, and it was for a show called The Movie Loft, which was, just not my gig. And I tripped over a rug during the audition, and the sound guy who mic'd me up, afterwards, he goes, "Well, that didn't go very well." So, so I was humiliated driving home, white knuckling it back on Stir Oak Drive back to Northeastern, swearing I'd never do television again. I only want to do radio. Why did I do that? Why did I agree to that? And so when I heard about, the MTV thing, I said, "No, I'm not interested in doing television. I really don't want to do that." And she said, "Come on, you got to do it. You got to do it." And of course, me being a bit of a people pleaser, I said, "Sure. Okay, fine. Yeah." I finally gave in. And so I auditioned in the basement of the radio station, Kiss 108 in Boston. And the first time I got a laugh, the first laugh during the audition, I was like, this is all I want to do forever.
Oh, wow.
And so, so it was a complete 180 turn during that audition.
Did you ever do stand-up, or do you do stand-up? I should know this. I think you do, don't you?
No. I tried stand-up, but I really didn't. No, I didn't like it.
I've always loved comedy. My childhood was comedy and basketball, and I studied some stand-ups in the late 80s. I'd go to the Comedy Store and watch all these different guys, from Sam Kinison to Dice Clay, who was starting out. Jim Carrey was there before in Living Color. Some obscure names, Argus Hamilton, Jackson Purdue. But it's not in my DNA, but I like writing and crafting jokes and ideas and stuff. So
yes, me too. Same here.
That's what I was going to ask you. So people are surprised that I walked away. I say I'm not addicted to the stage because I've heard some guys say the live audience is like crack cocaine. They just feed off the live audience. And I was like, you guys are loud. Let me just do the jokes I'm working on here. I there's something. So I like writing. Like, to me, my Instagram is probably my most satisfying thing because it lasers in on my sensibility. Man. So you're surprised people because you were very comfortable on the air. And then do you prefer writing to performing, or what would you say to those two?
It's funny, when I started Family Guy, even now, every now and again, go out for drinks with Family Guy writers, and they go, they'll come to a point where, we have a bunch of drinks, and they'll just go, "What are you doing here? What, don't you want to be in front of the don't you want to be hosting, extra, or I don't know, whatever they think I should be doing." I love hosting. I loved hosting.
Yeah.
And when I moved out here, once TRL ended, and that was a great run. That
How
was
many
like
years was that?
8 years.
Wow.
8 years of television every single day, hosting a live television show. And then of course there's all of the things that come along with that, the benefit, the parties and the concert tickets and the spring breaks and the summer beach house and all that stuff. So it was just like this really concentrated dose of like I don't even know how to describe it. It was just so wild for like 8 years straight. That I came out here and in my mind, I said, well, I want to continue hosting. I want to sort of get that feeling, keep that feeling going. And when I came out here, I had hosted a show. I had immediately gotten a show, which I was very lucky, on NBC. It was a reality show called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, where they drop in the Costa Rican jungle 9 or 10 celebrities and it was Lou Diamond Phillips and Daniel Baldwin and John Sally and all of these sort of, I guess B-listers, but Janice Dickinson was there. Rod Blagojevich was it's Rod Blagojevich's wife because he was in prison at the time. So it was just a wild, show. So they flew me to Costa Rica and I had to stay in Costa Rica for like a month and sort of, broadcast these live shows and I did it and it was fun, but I didn't get the high that I got from hosting Total Request Live, which was a live show every day.
Sure.
And there was something about and I wonder if you're this way too, because I think we're similar hosting mentality wise, but there was something about like the live, like just doing it once and it's over. I didn't like having to do like 4 takes of the same thing. That was, and it sounds ridiculous because it's like I was being paid handsomely for that, so it's a stupid thing to complain about, but it was just a preference for me. I was just used to doing live television. There was like a thrill to it. It was like performing a concert. If you're a band, you have one shot to do this song and that's it. You don't go back.
Right.
So anyway, so I didn't recapture that thrill of the MTV days. And so I said, well, maybe that wasn't the gig. And then I met with, when I came out here, I met with, I think, Access Hollywood or Extra or something. And I was in the meeting and I'm just like, I'm not feeling this at all. I don't want to do this. And so I sat around for a couple years and the phone, honestly, the phone wasn't ringing off the hook, a few gigs here and there. And then I got a full-time radio gig. And I realized that, I'll never get that back. I'll never get that feeling back. I'll never host a show like TRL. There'll never be another show that makes me feel that way.
Right.
And so at that point, I sort of realized that, and I said, well, maybe that period's just it's over. It was what it was.
Yeah.
So now I'm writing, and I don't mean to be long-winded with all this stuff. I always feel like I'm talking way too much, but
okay. Well, it's interesting though, but it makes sense. You kind of got it out of your system a little bit, but I like how I like how you handled it, but I assume that the comedy writing and the writing is very satisfying. I will say this, the Family Guy job is more fulfilling than any job I've ever had before. And why is that? Why is that?
It's because when I was at MTV, I loved the job, but I always felt like I wanted to be funny. I was like, I got the job and I'm like, I immediately wanted a late night show.
Right.
And I immediately wanted to tell jokes. And part of it was, probably like ego. Like I want to prove that I got the MTV job and it was sort of like, hey, check it out. All you people who didn't hire me in radio, look where I am now. And then I got the MTV job and, you deal with people on the street and they're like, you suck or whatever, and I'm like, so I wanted to prove to like those people that I was more than just a guy a talking head who can read cue cards, that I have a personality. And so I think that was probably, part of it, but I had always been a comedy fan, and I think it was just, I don't know how to explain it. It was just sort of something inside of me that I'm like, I got to follow this thing that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And so by the way, now I'm able to do it.
It's not always it's not always easy to articulate. It's kind of an instinct or a gut. But I remember reading, when I was in college, I liked Cheers and I liked Johnny Carson. I said, well, there's only one Johnny Carson, but there are a bunch of sitcoms. So I'll do a sitcom because I really like comedy, being creative. But I was fortunate to do late night. But I was going to say something about what you were describing. You got it out of your system. Writing is very satisfying. I didn't know. Was comedy a big thing in your childhood? Was your dad funny? You were always?
Oh man,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My parents are so funny, and my dad. I mean, my mom is sort of like big, like sings and does voices and things like that. My dad is the he's like the vicious, like he can tear someone apart, like based on their shoes alone.
Right.
And it's like a defensive mechanism for him. But he, you know, like growing up, we'd bond by sitting on a bench. And this sounds terrible, but like sitting on a bench in like a, you know, in a town, you know, like in Cape Cod or something. And he would just riff on people walking by.
Right.
And I think I picked that up from him. And it was very detailed. That's why I love details in comedy.
Yeah. I always wonder, I should ask my guys, I have them on, Gibbons and Salk and Goldie, but there are these guys that are probably don't do stand-up. Stand-up, you know, is kind of like bungee jumping. It's exhilarating for people. But then there are these humorists. They're called humorists, and I always wonder about some of these these guys, and I wonder what stand-up comics think of these humorists who write columns and are clever. I was going to say I remembered something years ago. There was this guy, and he said he was a DJ in Michigan, and he'd have to think of something clever to say between the songs. For 15 seconds or 20 seconds, you got to work on this. I said, I want to do more than this. And then he went out to Hollywood and became a comedy writer. He was on one of the big shows. It was like MASH or one of the big shows.
Sure.
But that's kind of a little bit like what you're saying. But it's one of the things that bothered me about late night, even and YouTube wasn't big back then when I was doing it. But I found that we do a bit and it was like I throw a pie in Goldie's face or something, and it was so disposable. And it was like, now I got to do another show tomorrow, and I like the bit we did yesterday, and I want that to last a little longer. But anyway, I think it's cool. You're on a hell of a show. You must be pretty grateful to be on Family Guy.
I'm very, very, very grateful. I mean, honestly, I don't want to say it. It's so hard to say it's my favorite gig because the MTV job was so wild, but it was so perfect for my 20s. But like this is, I mean, I am, very, very fortunate. Love working there. It's interesting when you mentioned that DJ. Now that I think back, I was always trying to do comedy bits on the radio. You know, became a DJ at 15 at a local station in Western Massachusetts. And it was even in me then where I was like, I want to be funny. I want to, and I remember a program director listening to one of my air checks and saying, it's better to be funny like once a show, really funny once a show, than trying to be funny every single break. If you have one great joke once every 4-hour shift, right, people will remember that more than not great jokes every single break.
Right. Did you ever, I noticed with back in the 80s and 90s when I did television, I'd get interviewed by the FM personalities, the radio guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
oh boy,
they wore sunglasses a lot inside. And when they were in the local town, they would go to a restaurant and they'd wear sunglasses like they were stars, rock and rollers. Did you in your 20s doing radio in Boston, did you wear sunglasses a lot inside?
No, I did not wear sunglasses a lot inside, but it is true. Radio DJs before, when it was one of the only ways you could hear music.
Right.
We were, DJs were sort of celebrities. Mm-hmm. And by the way, most DJs are total nerds. And so they get into this like kind of like nerd, shut-ins. And so they get out into this world and they get a little bit of fame and they turn into massive ego maniacs. And that was a lot of like the morning show guys, because the morning show was the most, they were the most famous at the station. And so they would get a little bit of fame and then it would completely go to their head. But for me, I mean, I was a part-time DJ, but I would host this thing called Club Kiss, because the station was Kiss 108. So it was Club Kiss, and they'd send me out with a microphone, and I'd do breaks on a Saturday night from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. at this club in Boston. And I'd have the mic with the Kiss 108 mic flag on the microphone. And it was like holding like a beacon, and women would just come up to me and, oh, can I be on the radio? Can I be on the, and it was like, wow, this is incredible. So I would say that was probably my, that was my sunglasses indoors moment was Club Kiss.
Yeah.
That microphone. Yeah.
Springsteen said that he picked up a guitar in junior high or high school to meet girls. That's what you do.
Yeah. That's what most, I think, inspires most.
Yeah. You're a drummer, right?
People. I am. Yeah.
Are you good?
I'm all right. I mean, am I good? I'm good.
Are you in a band?
I'm not great.
Are you in a band? Could you be in James Dolan's band, the owner of the Knicks? He has a band.
Oh, does he? I wouldn't want to. I don't think I'd want to be. No, I don't know. That feels like a little bit of a Cialis commercial kind of a situation.
People mock him. He's not a good owner of the Knicks, but he's obsessed with his band. It's all he really cares about. I always find it interesting. There are a lot of guys that are not musicians. They're prominent in another field, but then they love. They like to be in bands. Sometimes it's innocent. Other times it's annoying.
Yeah, my dream is to and I'm, like I said, I'm not good enough, and I'm not good enough. I'm at the level, and I'm smart enough to know that I couldn't do this. But I guess if I had a fantasy, if I could choose, to be in a massive rock band that tours the country, that would sort of be the dream. That would be the one reason I would, I guess, leave Family Guys. But that's not going to happen. So what I do is I just like playing along to songs downstairs on my drums in my place. Right. I sit in on cover bands and stuff. I have a few friends who are in cover bands, and honestly, that's all I need. I don't need, I don't need anything more than that.
So but
I'm obsessed with music.
Right. That's where we're going to go to now, because I like music. I'm not musical, but I'm very opinionated, and I get a kick out of other people's taste in music, and I have no clue what Damien Fahey listens to, what he listened to as a kid, what he listens to now. I think from your Instagram, you own some vinyl. Is that correct?
I do. Yes.
Yes.
What I listen to, let's start with what I grew up listening to. And really another thing, that I'm thankful for is my parents had great taste in music, super eclectic. My dad looked like David Bowie, would get mistaken for David Bowie.
Wow.
Had orange hair, it was really wild. And so my dad would listen to, David Bowie and a lot of 80s pop, like Whitney Houston, Madonna, Tears for Fears. He was that side. Yeah. And then my mom was also into that stuff. She listened to everything from like Iggy Pop and the Stooges to Talking Heads to James Brown, Barry White. She still does have it. I just visited Stax Records in Memphis. Last month, and where Isaac Hayes worked for a long time and recorded, and she found out, and she was like, "Oh my God, he's so hot!" She had like a big crush on Isaac Hayes. So
now, wait a second. What you grew up in Boston or outside of Boston or what?
Yeah, like an hour outside of Boston. Yeah.
Okay, and your mom liked some soul music.
She likes soul music and R&B music. And it's funny because when you post on your Instagram, you'll post like whether it's Barry White or
you're talking me, right?
Yeah, you.
Teddy Pendergrass.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I listened. Yeah. So I was the guy, in the growing up in the suburbs, the white guy who loved the black culture. So I liked my heroes were Dr. J and Walt Clyde Frazier, and then I listened to soul music. You just said Barry White, Stylistics, Earth, Wind and Fire, and obviously Prince. But I eschewed white rock and roll until I got a little older. which I want to ask you. Let me ask you right now this question.
Sure,
This is
sure.
a pet peeve of mine because I want to
Okay.
get into what you listen to,
Okay.
but there's something personal about music, and people listen to music, and I think this is more 8th grade, junior high, but I experienced it as an adult where you listen to that. What? Oh,
Yeah.
when did you start listening to Bowie? In college with Let's Dance? You didn't listen to him early? You didn't listen to early Bowie? Like they're very judgmental and they're cooler than you are in their eyes, even though they weren't all state basketball players.
Hello. Game-winning shot.
Yeah, So do you ever know that it's very personal with music, is it not?
It's very personal with music. And I admittedly, like, I hate to admit this, but I got into Bob Dylan like 5 years ago. I mean, I'm 43 years old.
I
And
still haven't. I still haven't. So that's okay.
Yeah, right. Well, it's like the Beatles. Like I like the Beatles and everything, but I'm not like a giant Beatles fan, which is crazy because the number one love of my life is music and everything. Sort of all the music I like came from the Beatles. So, I now being older, like I sort of. Maybe I had a little bit of that attitude when I was younger, but I really don't like that attitude now about like I got there first and you're not a real fan and all that.
Exactly.
It's just as much as I love music and as much as I like bow down to Bob Dylan and Michael Jackson, all those greats. It's like, and I take music so seriously. Like I literally sit in my I hate to admit this, but like I work on television. I'm a writer. I watch very little television. I watch very little movies. It's actually difficult for me to sit alone and uninterrupted watch. So what I do is I sit in my place and I listen to music. So I have this respect for music, but I'm not precious about what people like.
Right. Just a side note to what you just said. When I was working in late night, I didn't watch television because I would unwind and I would watch a live sporting event, basketball on television. When I retired, I discovered Frasier, which was now off the air. Yeah. I discovered Frasier in reruns. Yeah. And I felt it's my favorite sitcom. But anyway, so back to what you were saying, I got to understand. I want to understand what you listen to if you can summarize that. In other words, I don't know if my dad taught me about Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, and then I went other places with Bill Evans and Antonio Carlos Jobim, bossa nova music. I like the old American Songbook, Gershwin, etc.
Right.
But do you listen to any of that, or you'd have to discover that on your own? Okay.
Well, I didn't grow up listening to that. My mom is so eclectic. I think I probably owe most of my musical taste and passion and interest to her because she would play like Beethoven CDs and orchestra music and everything. There really was, what's weird is I got into jazz like, God, you can just fast forward through this part. We're talking about jazz now, people. So you can just fast forward. I know how boring that is to most people.
Yeah.
But like, I got into it like maybe hardcore, like 6 or 7 years ago when I bought an old 1978 vintage Sansui receiver and I hooked it up to my speakers and it has like the little meters that move and it glows in the dark. It's beautiful. And I just thought, man, that thing needs to have jazz put through it. That's the music for that thing. And so I put on 88.1. It's called K-Jazz out here. And I started, I mean, it was like Shazam. What is this? What is this? And of course, being a drummer and everything, I'm a musician. So jazz is sort of a musician's music, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
So I got really into jazz and I still am. And I put it on every day.
It's funny you mentioned K-Jazz because back in the day when I was doing the show in the early 2000s, I listened to K-Jazz and I'll talk a little bit about jazz, but I never force it on people because I know it throws people off. But I got an award from K-Jazz because I promoted it. I had Chuck Niles, the old DJ. He's passed away, but he was the old DJ on K-Jazz. He goes, man, that's some good stuff. He'd say that about the song. I listened to K-Jazz, but now. And you get stuck in your thing where, if you're a Spotify guy, but I have a Pandora account for years and I listen to my Bill Evans station every morning. So they play Bill Evans and Oscar Peterson and Miles Davis, etc. But my thing is this: there's jazz where they're riffing and it's fun, but I like the beautiful ballads, the American, Skylark, these different songs to a jazz interpretation or a jazz arrangement. And I listen to that stuff. When sometimes people come over to my house and they hear the music, they go, I like that. What's that? I like that kind of jazz. I go, that's Bill Evans on piano. And it's very beautiful.
Yeah.
So what do you listen to? You listen to Miles Davis, or do you listen to Coltrane, or what kind of stuff? Or is it all over the place?
I have a poster on my wall here. It's sort of the song that the first jazz song that I heard that really, I was like, oh, I'm all in on this. And it was
Take Five. Take Five.
Yeah, Take Five. Well, I actually, that is probably, if I'm being totally honest, I was, when I heard that, 15 years ago, I was like, wow, this is really good.
Right.
But John Coltrane has this album Africa, and that's the song. It's called Africa, and Elvin Jones is on drums, and it starts out very like, almost sounds like dogs are barking in the beginning of it. Like, it's really weird in the beginning, and then it gets into like this groove, and it's probably, I mean, I may be wrong, but I want to say it's like maybe 10 minutes over, maybe even 10 minutes, but it's just a great, I love music that takes you to like a visual place. And that is one of those things, one of those songs that does it. So that's what got me into it, really.
Do you find yourself, like Cameron Crowe, he listens to music and that helps him write. And I notice that when I hear music, I'll start to think of clever ideas and different ideas. And I even heard, I rewatched Jackie Brown, Quentin Tarantino. It's one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. Yeah. And the soundtrack was amazing. And he said somewhere in an interview, I don't know if it was about that movie, but he said, if I can't get certain songs, I'm not going to do this movie. Like he built it around certain songs, and it just sets the mood. So do you write when you hear music, or what?
That it definitely gets my brain.
Are you just drinking when you hear music? Is that what you're drinking in the middle of the day at the house?
I'm shooting up, old jazz style, I am definitely drinking a little bit. Maybe I'll have a glass of wine, or I'll go in the kitchen and make a nice little, maybe a cocktail of some sort, and I'll sit in my Eames chair and I'll relax.
Oh, Goldie has one of those, unless you bought his.
No. By the way, do you know this story? Not to get off track, but Goldie was going to give me your late night desk.
Yeah, I think it's with John Viner right now. I hope it's still secure. I hope my old late night desk Goldie had, then it didn't fit in his new house, and then I don't know if it was Jessup and Viner, but I hope someone's taking care of it.
I hope so too. Yeah. So what's funny is you brought up jazz. Like, the only jazz I don't like, aside from like Ella Fitzgerald, is people who sing over or scat over jazz.
Yeah.
I don't like singing over jazz.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it annoys me.
Yeah. There's some stuff that I don't like. That's why I say I like songs, beautiful songs. But the arrangement has to be right, because I bought an album, Mel Torme's 16 Most Requested Songs, but the arrangements were awful. They were just generic elevator arrangements. And then my dad sent me an album with Mel Torme and George Shearing. And it was George Shearing was a blind piano player. They would say, "You're hearing Shearing." And he was this great piano player. And that album, I had heard the song Stardust before, but I was like, I just called my dad and I say, "Is this supposed to be the most beautiful song ever written?" He goes, "A lot of people like that. A lot of people like that song. Yeah, beautiful song."
Wow.
And Nat King Cole sings Stardust. It's beautiful. But some of the jazz I don't like. So were you as I said, I wasn't into white rock and roll, and now I didn't listen to Led Zeppelin. I didn't listen to all my high school team, classmates were listening to Foghat.
Yeah, no.
And, what did you listen to that stuff?
No, I didn't listen to that stuff. Like I said, I listened to mostly what my parents listened to. I mean, my mom she was into Led Zeppelin, so that was on in the house. But there's something about, I appreciate that music, and obviously John Bonham, one of the greatest drummers of all time. But I never had a Zeppelin phase.
Yeah.
There's something about that music that I don't know. It's almost a little too like mid-rangey or something. There's not enough like bottom end on it or sparkly high end, because I grew up in the 80s, so all that music in the 80s like Tears for Fears is one of my favorite groups.
Yeah.
They have one of my favorite albums of all time, Sowing the Seeds of Love, which is an amazing album.
Do you like
start to
Pale
finish.
Shelter, by the way? The song Pale Shelter?
It's not one of my favorite Tears for Fears songs. I respect the song for sure, but it's like it's not on my list of like top 20.
I have this thing where I break down. I like verses and sometimes I don't like the chorus, but I like the verse there, but not the chorus. And that's true with a lot of Eddie Money songs. I listen to a lot of different stuff.
Oh, I love Eddie Money.
Yeah, Shakin'. I like Shakin', and I like. And my brother, I played it for him the other day. So we don't always agree on music. He goes, that's it's really a simple song, right there. He's kind of dismissing it. I'm saying, well, it works. So just relax, buddy.
Well, that's what people say about like Ringo. They're like, I'm not a Ringo fan. It's also what he did. Anyone can do that, and it's like, well, you didn't come up with that perfect part for that song. Even. I mean, that's what, and also simple with music. What do you want to listen to? Rush? You want to listen to like, 32/7 time signature? Like, what is that?
Why did you say Rush, by the way?
Because it's seen as sort of more complex music with various time signatures.
What's the lead singer's name?
Geddy Lee.
Yeah. I used to single him out as one of the irritating voices I can't stand.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to let you know.
Yes.
So, and now because I'm older than you, I'm in the 1977, that's when Wanna Be Your Lover, Prince came out, blah, blah, blah. Disco became in the mid 70s, Saturday Night Fever, all this stuff. And it was dance music. And in our high school, people, I'm sure this happened across the country. They'd have some of the groups of guys would have t-shirts. They'd wear them to school. Disco sucks. And then so my thing is this, let me make this quick. My brother and I were tall, but we're coordinated. We can dance, and we would go to dance clubs in the 80s. So we liked a lot of that New Order stuff. And I loved Running Up That Hill, by the way, as a side note. I like Talk, It's My Life.
Yeah.
But there's a story behind this. But do you like dance music, or are you one of those white guys that can't stand dance music? So
no,
we heard Madonna Holiday in the 80s. We thought she was African American. She was, Holiday. I love Dress You Up.
Yes, I love Borderline. All those songs are just so great. I love huge Madonna fan, and especially 80s Madonna is my favorite Madonna.
Yeah.
Did you say Dress You Up? Was that what that's a great song.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite song. When I was out of college, I went with this touring basketball team. We went to Geneva and Stuttgart, and we went to Paris, and I was it was when Dress You Up was a big song, and I'd go to the discos there. And I would drink beer, and we'd ask girls out to dance, and we're asking out for cafe the next day. And but in the disco, they'd say, Madonna, Dress You Up. And I was just so fired up because it was such a high energy song.
And then it's just Craigers to the dance floor at that point, right? I would think.
Spinning, putting my arms out, doing
I wanted to ask before I forget, where did you come up with the spinning?
I don't know. It's just there. It's just there.
Oh my God. How does it just flows out of you, doesn't it?
These are
instinctive.
Yeah. Say that again. I like that.
It just flows out of you, doesn't it? It's just disgusting.
Yes. There's a lot of these things are instincts. And who knew that later in life, on Instagram, which is my favorite outlet, I would start doing.
Yeah, that is the best.
It's very narrow what I like, and I like my sensibility, and it's satisfying. I wonder if there's another outlet for it. We'll find out one day.
I guess we will. But no, I love dance music, and I love disco. I like Chic and Nile Rodgers, and of course Nile produced all those Madonna albums that we're talking about.
He produced "Let's Dance" by Bowie.
He did. Yeah. So I love all that stuff. Like I have no, I was born in the 80s, so I didn't experience the disco sucks thing. So I think by the time I discovered disco, which is just really dance music, I was like, this is great.
So I told this story before, but I think it's funny. I like to protect my people from the past. I don't mention their names because I like these guys, but some of them, they're bent out of shape. So I came into the office one day, and I was telling Gibby and this other person, guilty pleasure. I got a guilty pleasure here.
Yeah.
And I had DirecTV at the time, and they had a free concert of Kylie Minogue. And she was shaking her moneymaker, as we like to say, and she was doing this Love at First Sight. And it's a really upbeat dance song. And I just couldn't get enough of it. It reminded me a little of Celebration by Madonna. And the one guy at work was like, "That's awful music. Oh, that's embarrassing." He's the guy that would judge. I agree with you on Coltrane and jazz, but I said it was a guilty pleasure, man. And I remember talking a few weeks later. I'm friends with Jimmy Jam, the great producer from Minneapolis, who does Janet Jackson.
Oh, you are?
Like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he says, "Oh, I love that. I love that song by Kylie Minogue." So that's what I mean by guilty pleasures. I'm sure, like, to this day, Gibby makes fun. We make fun of Kylie Minogue. I mean, he makes fun of Kylie Minogue because it was a guilty pleasure.
Of course, I have a lot of guilty pleasures. I mean, when you say Kylie Minogue, I think of like the other songs that you post, like Benny Mardones.
Oh my God,
Night,
that's the one that I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
my brother makes fun of me. But Salkin describes it as he left it all out there on the floor. But it is so, even my Princess Cherry, she listens. She's kind of into music. She likes Claire de Lune. She likes Debussy.
Ooh.
But,
yeah.
But she heard that song and she goes, "No, it's inspirational." He gets really into it and builds and modulates at the end, and I love that.
It's a huge crescendo. So the first time I heard that, I was 15 years old, and I had talked myself into a job at a local radio station in Springfield, adult contemporary radio, playing Madonna, all these songs that we're talking about, right? And Michael Bolton and Celine Dion and Rod Stewart and all this stuff. And I would like kind of talk about guilty pleasures. I would sit in the studio doing midnight to 6 a.m. going, oh my God, all the other kids are into like Pearl Jam and Nirvana. And I'm like, I'm into like this, this Michael Bolton song that Diane Warren wrote,
Right.
and so then I discovered Diane Warren. I'm like, I'm like, oh wow, who is writing all these songs? Like, oh, Diane Warren's writing a lot of these songs that are guilty pleasures for me.
When you were working midnight to 6 a.m., did you have a playlist you had to stick to or not?
Yes, but I would break it. Like I remember breaking it. We had a 3 o'clock all request hour, and I would play Billy Joel. These are the times to remember a lot.
Wow.
I remember that being one of them that I liked. Yeah.
So I told this
and Human League's Human. Speaking of Jimmy Jam,
which
produced
is
one of my. Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's one of my favorite songs. Yeah.
So in the college, I worked one summer at KBOZ in Bozeman, the FM station, and there was this company that they paid. It's called Drake Chenault, and they would give them a playlist, and it seemed like every third song was The Police, Every Breath You Take. But I was working on Saturday, the midnight to 6 shift. It was my first foray into radio DJing, and I'd say a few things. But the guy down at the AM station said, "So you can go off. You don't have to go stick to the playlist. You can go off and play something else." So I played a 6-minute Barry White song. Ooh. And the general manager said, "We pay a lot for that playlist. Don't ever go off it again. I want you to take next weekend off."
Oh,
he's a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine now, by the way. He was then too. But I played a 6-minute Barry White song.
Was that I forget I'm so bad with album title. Was it When We Met? That one?
Oh, that's it. Yeah. My favorite Barry White songs. I don't remember which one I played, but everyone knows "Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe." But I like "Let the Music Play." That's one of my favorites.
That's a great song.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We got to keep it moving. We can talk. We can talk more music next time, but I do have to get to the food stuff because you look slender and fit, but I think you're a cheeseburger freak. I might be wrong.
No, you're right.
Okay. On your stories on Instagram, you go berserk when you find a cheeseburger you like in Los Angeles.
I do. I just found one the other night, actually, because I went to speaking of guilty pleasures, it was a Lost 80s concert at the Greek.
Okay.
And so Belinda Carlisle, Wang Chung, all Information Society, all these kind of, cheesy. And so, well, I don't want to say, I don't want, these are great. These are actually Belinda Carlisle and Wang Chung were amazing, by the way. I was like, these are musicians right here. So anyway, before I had to grab a little something to eat because I have to eat every, 4 hours or 5 hours, whatever it is. Otherwise I get a little cranky.
Right.
And so I went and, a buddy of mine said, "Let's go to Mess Hall." And I had a burger at Mess Hall. and I'm always skeptical. I say, "How's the burger?" And the guy goes, "It's really good." And I go, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." And it's one of my favorite burgers in LA at Mess Hall. Delicious.
I've heard of Mess Hall. Where is that?
It's right by Little Dom's on Hillhurst.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's really, really good.
Do you get your cheeseburger medium rare?
I got it medium rare, but
Okay.
I don't like it. I have to ask, what is your medium rare? Because
Okay.
I don't want it really red
Yeah.
in the middle. Like I don't, but typically if the place knows what they're doing, and it's really the sign of you're going to get a good burger if they nail the medium rare.
Right. Okay.
I'll know when it comes out, okay, this is going to be, good.
Just for the young people, Craigers used to get medium rare. As he's older now, I go medium. I just don't. I know how great it tastes when it's medium rare, but it's a little healthier when it's medium. Or I might even go medium well sometimes. But let's not broadcast that. So on your cheeseburger, I'm one of those guys that, where I go to a place, I'll say, put everything on it that you want to. I love pickles, for example. I love onions. Is there anything you hold off from?
Yeah. Well, my number one burger is probably, it's the double animal style at In-N-Out. The order is double number one, which is the double meal that you get fries, which I'm not a big fry guy, to be honest. I mostly am about the burger.
Right.
And then you get a soft drink, which I never get because there's too much sugar in the soft drink. And so I'll get a iced tea or a water. Okay. I'm not a big sweets guy. So
good for you. Good for you, young man.
Positive choices here. And so what I'll get is a double animal style, no tomato.
Oh.
Add chopped chilies. So there we go.
Right.
And so that is just.
You like spice or what?
I like a little bit of spice.
Okay.
I can't take, too much spice, but yeah, I like a little bit of a little bit of something on there.
So one of my big criticisms with hamburgers in general are the boring ass buns or the low,
brioche.
Listen, we're going to get to it later. Don't think about it right now. We're going to do your top 3 sandwiches, but I happen to like rye bread. And I think, you can put it on, it becomes a patty melt, I believe, if you put it on bread. But a lot of hamburger buns disappoint me. I don't want them cakey. I want them to disappear. But let me go straight into this. I am not as well versed in the cheeseburgers as you are. I can only name 3 places, and you've named one of them. So I believe, and don't yell, I think I prefer Five Guys to In-N-Out.
Ooh.
Is that bad?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. The burger you like is the burger you like. I like
the sauce at In-N-Out.
Yes. The sauce is great. I like Five Guys. The last couple times I had Five Guys, it made me feel terrible for like a day and a half. This is not an exaggeration. I just felt like off.
That's a good burger.
Yeah, it knocked me out for like a day and a half.
If it knocks you out, it's decadent.
Yeah. And I get depressed, and it's just not a good. So I go, I'm not going to be messing with Five Guys again. But very good burger though, and honestly, the fries are great. And then I will, if I'm at Five Guys and they have the option,
I do it.
I'm going to get a shake.
Oh, I thought you meant Cajun fries. I do Cajun.
Oh,
fries.
Always Cajun fries. Yeah.
So you get a shake. Yeah, shakes are fun. They
are fun. Yeah.
What do you get? You get chocolate, vanilla. What do you get?
If I can do a mix, half chocolate, half vanilla. That's kind of the ideal thing. Okay. Yeah. And then if I'm feeling really crazy, I'll go strawberry. But I usually halfway through the strawberry, I start to regret that I got the strawberry.
Can you name quickly some of the top places for the people to hear for cheeseburgers in Los Angeles?
Sure. Well, In-N-Out, but you got to get the double animal style. That's a must.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Burgers Never Say Die is really, really good. It's sort of like a gourmet McDonald's burger.
Okay.
In the best way. And then there's a place called Electric Owl in West Hollywood, which is really good too.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if I have a lot of favorite burger spots, but I'm going to throw those out there.
So let me hit you with the one that it's been called, and this was a number of years ago, the best burger in LA. And then, of course, it changes each year because they keep doing these different polls. Father's Office.
Yeah. It's interesting. I moved out here in 2009. Everyone's like, you got to go to Father's Office. And I went and I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm like, this is one of the best burgers I've ever had. But burgers over the last 5 years have gotten really hot, really trendy. The smash burger craze is kind of, has happened. And so I just feel like that's fallen further down on my list of places, just based on the evolution of burgers here in LA.
Okay. And quickly, again, your Instagram stories, you're a food guy. Are you obsessed with pizza, or am I thinking?
I love pizza.
You do?
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite food.
Oh, it's more so than cheeseburgers then.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I like pizza is my favorite food. I mean, I don't understand how it's not everyone's favorite food.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bread, it's cheese, it's sauce. It's like the three best foods in one.
Do you have?
I love it.
Do you have any favorites that you can share with the young people?
Yes, I have a place. It's right down the street from where I live in Echo Park, and not a lot of people know about it, but it's one of my favorite pizza places anywhere, and it's called Quarter Sheets Pizza Club. And you just got to go, and you got to get the Little Jim salad to start. I know that doesn't sound. You're at a pizza place. What am I getting a salad for? Amazing Little Jim salad, and then you get a few slices of different kinds, and they have an amazing. I took a chance, and what's good here, and I was just going to go pepperoni and regular cheese, red sauce slice, and the guy goes, "You really should try our mushroom." It was a mushroom potato slice with like a lemon zest on it. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like that. And I took one bite and I was like, this is one of the most amazing things I've ever eaten. So, and they make all their desserts homemade and I'm not a dessert guy, but those desserts are really, really, really good.
So I like pizza. I don't eat a lot of carbs, young man. So I sometimes will buy gluten-free crust, and I like pepperoni. I like sausage. Years ago when I did eat pizza, and it is the greatest thing. You're right. It's amazing. I would have a white pizza, which is a white sauce instead of a red sauce. And I had one with garlic and clams and bacon. This was way back in the day at Bristol, Connecticut at ESPN. Do you ever have a white sauce on a pizza, or is that something you haven't done? That's with no tomato sauce on it.
I've done it. It's not my preference. I like a nice red sauce, but where was ESPN? Was it in New Haven?
No, it was in Bristol, Connecticut, near Hartford.
Bristol.
Near Hartford.
Okay. Of course.
I lived in
You were so close to New Haven, which is the white clam, the white clam pizzas over there, which are supposed to be good. I've never had them, but yeah.
And then quickly, you like to go out to Palm Springs, and you like Mr. Lyons?
Oh, I love Mr. Lyons. Mr. Lyons is like one of my favorite steakhouses.
How did you discover that place?
I discovered that place. My ex was I guess I hate using the term, but
exotic dancer. Is that the term?
Yeah. No, influencer.
Oh,
even worse.
Okay.
I'm kidding. But yeah, she got an endorsement through whoever owns Mr. Lyons, and they also own a breakfast spot out there. Cheeky's, I think they own.
Cheeky's,
And then there's another, place too, Burba, I think it's called. So we got a free dinner at Mr. Lyons, and I had always driven by Mr. Lyons, and I'm going, there's no way that's good. Like, there's no way that it's probably fine for Palm Springs.
Right.
But then we went, and the second I went inside, I was like, oh, this is the coolest interior.
Well, one of the things
I've ever seen.
I just have to tell people, it makes me laugh, but there are places to go eat, restaurants. They're dark inside, and from the outside, you don't see any windows. And that's kind of what Mr. Lyons is like. Very dark inside. Very
true. It's super, super dark, but it's so the vibe in there, if I can use that word, is so great. And then I don't like shrimp. I'm a crab guy, but my ex ordered shrimp, and it had Old Bay seasoning on the shrimp.
Ooh.
And man, I get it every time I go now. It's Old Bay is just You put it on anything, it's the best. But yeah, and the steaks are fantastic. It's one of my favorite steakhouses now.
Just to impress you, I was at Mr. Lyons about 4 weeks ago. I ate there. I had to pick up my brother at the Palm Springs airport, and I had to kill some time, and I had something decadent. I don't know what it was, but it was good. Oh, my God.
And a great martini.
Oh, I couldn't. I was driving. I had red wine. Yeah.
Oh, smart. Yeah.
I'm very careful.
Yeah, of course.
Quickly, now we move. We move to your assignment. Damien Fahey's top 5 movies of all time, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to see if I can get, because you're a young person, so I can't wait to hear this. I don't know if I can guess any of them. Are either of the Top Gun movies on there?
Oh, man, you're close.
Okay.
I just want to say for the record, it takes a lot for me it's really hard for me to, like, unless I'm in a theater, I'll sit and watch, but it's almost impossible for me to sit and watch a movie at home. I just can't. I don't know. I can't sit still.
Do you have a little something or other, a little ADD or something, or what do you have?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I do.
You're doing well right now. You're doing well.
I like to. This is fun for me. I like this.
Okay.
So my movies, like, I'm not a serious movie guy at all. Okay. You're not going to hear about any, obscure French films. You're going to hear about movies, a little movie called Jaws.
Okay. Hey, Peter Schrager, I think from the NFL Network, said Jaws. That was on one of his top 5. So you saw it, after the fact, because you were not around. You were not born yet in the 70s.
No, I was not born in the 70s. Love that movie. By the way, making this list was one of the most, I almost had a panic attack because I'm like, Craig's going to hate this list.
Oh, that's okay.
And okay.
That's okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Jaws, great. I just watched it about a month ago. It's still holds up. Yeah. Super fun. It's just done so well. I love I love how you don't see the shark for a long time, and then you sort of, the little hints. Yeah, it's just fantastic. And then of course all the the speeches and everything is just written so well. So yeah, I love Jaws.
Next. Sorry for that.
Let's go. All right, I'm going. These are in no particular order, by the way.
Right.
I'm going to go with a movie I grew up on and I really loved as a child, and it was called Stand By Me.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really fun film, great film. Sort of when I think about that movie, I think about being, it might mostly be nostalgic factor, but it just kind of takes me back to being a kid. Big fan of that movie.
Great. Number three. I guess I have a job here because you're going to pause each time. And yeah, that's good. I like that.
Okay.
Number 3 for Damien.
Number 3. We're going to go with Rear Window.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. Oh. Love Rear Window.
Really?
Loved. I've always
Now, when you chose that,
Window.
Did you know that I would approve of that? Because, I like Hitchcock, or you just came up with that? You just liked it, right?
Well, here's what I thought. I thought about it, and I said, well, I remember seeing Rear Window when I was a kid. My mom is a massive Hitchcock fan. She always has it on in her apartment when I come over. She has whatever the Vertigo, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever. North by Northwest.
Well, I think Vertigo was on last time I went over to my mom's place on her giant 90-inch television screen because she just loves movies and like I love music. So I saw that when I was a kid, and it's something about just the way it starts with the pan across all of I love, and I'm like, everyone's got like a different thing. And again, this is like the detail thing that I was talking about in comedy. Everyone's character was just so well defined in that complex, just with that shot, you knew who everyone was, no dialogue. It's such a perfect film.
Grace Kelly, beautiful.
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm a Hitchcock fan. I always say I could choose a whole bunch. I just choose North by Northwest because I love Cary Grant, but it's all good. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. But I did think, Craig's going to love this, but I didn't choose it. That wasn't the first thought.
Yeah.
No. Because there's going to be another one here that
I don't want to influence you too much. I don't want to influence you as much as the exotic dancer did. Okay. Oh, she wasn't an exotic dancer. I'm sorry. Okay. Number 4 for Damien Fahey.
We're going to go with, you're not going to like this at all.
Let me think. What would be obnoxious here?
It's obnoxious.
Um,
80s. It's not obnoxious. It's just like
Ferris Bueller's Day Off or something like that.
no, that's it. I'm not that basic.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Okay.
Was a big movie for me growing up. Again, these are all films that that I feel like influenced me or nostalgic for me. But Pee-wee's Big Adventure, actually, I think I remember laughing so hard at that movie. And so I sort of think of that, especially, just in general, all those movies. I just love the humor, the weird, bizarre humor in those movies.
Right.
So yeah.
And this is the last one, number 5.
This one, I don't even know if you've ever seen this. It's the movie I've seen the most. Oh. It's the movie I can quote from start to finish. I can,
The Big Lebowski.
No, Jesus, come on.
I don't know.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, I've not seen that.
Yeah. No. 1980s Kurt Russell movie. Just a really silly film. Really weird. Again, sort of funny in a weird way. And then as a kid, I was just obsessed with trucks, like as a little kid.
Right.
And so he's a truck driver in that movie. So
let's see. It's got a 7.2 rating on IMDb. That's not terrible. Okay. That's good. All right, buddy. Moving right along. That was good. Yep. I mean, Rear Window out of nowhere. You go classic, and I appreciated that. Yeah, that was good. That was a good list.
Nice.
We now finish up strong with the Life Gorgeous quiz. Simple questions, profound insights. We didn't really get into this, but what is your cocktail of choice?
Ooh, very good question. I have a friend who asked me the other day. She says she asked me if you could only have one cocktail for the rest of your life, what would it be? And I answered with margarita only because I think I don't think I could get sick of the margarita. Now,
a lot of sugar.
A lot of sugar. But I'm probably have to go with the margarita is my favorite cocktail.
You drink a lot of them or not?
What's funny is I kind of pulled back on drinking a few months ago.
Good for you, young man.
Based on thank you. Not based on anything, just other than I'm in my 40s and I would go out and drink and wake up the next morning and I'm like, I got to spend half the day just kind of coming to
recovering. Yep.
Yeah. So
I always tell people it's kind of what I preach in moderation. 1 martini a week, a couple glasses of red wine. It's discipline.
It is.
Do it with food. Don't chase the night, young people. Don't chase the night.
So important.
First concert for young Damien Fahey.
You might like this one, I feel like.
What's that?
Joe Cocker.
Oh, wow. How old were you? Joe Cocker
in Springfield, Massachusetts. I was 13 years old.
Your mom took you?
No. My mom got me tickets, and then I went with my friend at the time, Matthew Harrison. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we went, and it was a Springfield, like it was an auditorium or something. Okay. It wasn't the Civic Center, but I remember standing, we had last row seats, but Joe Cocker.
Very popular right now. I'm just going to give you a little comparison. Who do you prefer, Taylor Swift or Adele?
Oh man. Oh man, that's a tough one. I would probably listen to Taylor Swift before I listen to Adele.
Okay. Any particular reason?
I haven't listened to anything other than Adele's hits on the radio that I played a billion times. So that's probably why. I mean, those are two artists that I work at a station out here that plays those artists all the time. So it's like, it's not my go-to music. But I would probably listen to Taylor. I like that song Karma that she has. That's probably my favorite.
Have you seen Taylor Swift in concert?
No.
Any desire?
I did, when she did 6 dates out here at SoFi, there was like this feeling in the air where it was like everyone should go see Taylor, and I would totally do it. But the ticket prices were like, over $1,000, and I just wouldn't I wouldn't do that. It's like I'm going to spend that money on a.
That's a lot of cheeseburgers.
It's a lot of
$1,000.
cheeseburgers. Yeah, but I would see Taylor Swift absolutely.
Okay, here we go. This is exciting for me because I say I don't eat a lot of carbs. So I've been getting a kick out of this question. I used to do a question, favorite pie, and that's fun because I like pies as a kid, but I don't have a sweet tooth. But I do now top 3 sandwiches of all time, and I really enjoy this. I'm opinionated, and because you like cheeseburgers and pizza so much, I'm very curious to see what you think for top 3 sandwiches of all time.
Okay. Is the burger a sandwich, would you say?
Nope.
It is. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, in no particular order, we're going to start with the Reuben.
Have you seen my my responses before?
No.
That's mine. That's my number 1.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that's my number 1. So it only happened one other time with Michael Costa from The Daily Show. His was Reuben. He went Reuben number 1.
Oh, Reuben is just there are no words.
Some people don't like sauerkraut. So I like corned beef or pastrami. I don't care. I like the sauce, the Russian dressing or the Thousand Eye, whatever you want to call it. I like the sauerkraut. I like pumpernickel or rye, either one. But Reubens are outrageous.
Outrageous. It's so decadent. I have one maybe once a year.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's so good. Love a Reuben. Love everything that's happening in a Reuben. There's a lot of different flavors. You can taste like 7 different flavors, and they all work together, and yet they're separate. And it's an amazing, magical sandwich. Another sandwich that I'm going to throw out there. Now, this is a simple sandwich, but sometimes, like your friend who wants complex music all the time, sometimes simplicity is the best and the most satisfying. And sometimes in this sandwich, when you want this sandwich, this is the only sandwich you want. And it's the grilled cheese sandwich.
Very good. Very, very good answer.
Right?
At one point, I did my top 3. I told Princess Cherry, and she said, "What about a grilled cheese?" And I go, "Oops, I'll take this other one off." Now I put the other one back on and took off the grilled cheese, so I have it 4th.
What was the other
grilled cheese. I'm going to tell you in a second. I want to see if you say it.
Okay.
So you're at 2 right now.
Okay. So we've got the Reuben,
the grilled
cheese. The next sandwich in my top 3. Oh boy, this is also another once a year kind of a deal, because this is an expedition.
Okay, I'm going to guess it. I've never even had one, but I want to have one. But it's decadent. It's called a Monte Cristo.
Oh man,
it's deep fried. It's a thing with the ham and the cheese.
No, it's not a Monte Cristo. It's not a Monte Cristo. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a big dumb guy sandwich. Think construction worker.
Philly cheesesteak.
Oh no. That's good. That's good.
Okay.
Ball hoagie.
Oh, okay. The old hoagie.
The old hoagie.
Yeah.
Love it. Just it's sloppy. It, like I said, blue collar. Kind of working on a beam. Open up the lunchbox. You got a hoagie.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So Reuben, I have 2 warm ones and one cold one. I like chicken salad. So I like chicken salad. So with the grapes and the walnuts and the apples, whatever, and the cheddar cheese and the red onions. I love red onions. So I do it on rye. I like chicken salad.
Great.
The third one is controversial. This is the one that I would take off and put the grilled cheese on, but I came back and put it on. Tuna melt.
Oh, love a tuna melt. As a matter of fact, I wanted to ask you, how is the tuna melt at, where were you? That place on
Billy Reed's out in Palm Springs? Which one?
Yeah, that place. Yeah. I mean, I got to go there. I saw that, but there was a place in LA. I think it's on Beverly.
Oh, I don't know.
It's a burger place.
Oh,
on the corner.
I don't know. Where was I?
You got a tuna melt there, and I.
Oh, I'm sorry. On 6th Street, you mean Cassell's? Cassell's Burgers.
Is it a good tuna melt?
Yeah, it's a good tuna melt. And then I had a patty melt. The weirdest thing is this. I'm going to confess something. I went. Sometimes I'm in a place. I'm running an errand with Princess Cherry. We're out in the valley, and then let's go have lunch at the Smokehouse, which I haven't done very often. And the food there is solid, but the ambiance is nice. I got a Reuben there the other day. I hadn't had a Reuben in ages. and it was solid, but I go, I don't need a Reuben for a long time because I enjoyed the tuna melt so much at Billy Reed's. The tuna melt, but they had great rye bread. They toasted it. They didn't toast it. They did it the right way. They grilled it the right way. It was crisp. And I love tuna melts. And I don't have them very often. And some people just don't like tuna. But I mean, come on, man.
It's so
I love
good.
that you like tuna melts. I thought you might poo-poo it because you don't like tuna.
No, I love tuna. Absolutely.
Okay.
I love the tuna. Now what about a side with the tuna melt? Will you get a side? Like
Okay,
I wouldn't do fries with a tuna melt.
Okay.
I'd probably do like a potato salad or something.
Okay, so I have a very strong opinions here.
Okay.
I like potato salad, but I don't like it with sugar. And I'm going to tell you the best place in Los Angeles that I know, the best potato salad in Los Angeles is at a barbecue place on La Brea called Bloodsoe's.
Yes.
Because they put mustard in it.
Oh,
mustard.
Right.
You have to put.
That's
so
right.
Their potato salad is so good. It's kind of like years ago at the Palm. I like their cream spinach because they put nutmeg in it.
Yeah,
These
great.
are the details that you're talking about.
I know what you mean. I like tart. That's what it's like pickles. It's like
I love pickles.
I don't want a bread and butter. I want a dill. And, garlic. I need the tart, not the sweet.
I like pickles.
Yeah,
my name is Craig, and I like pickles.
Yeah, just say it.
Yeah, I like potato salad. I also don't like coleslaw with sugar. I'm very anti-sugar. But
yeah, I don't like sweet.
But it's addictive, so that's why they keep getting the customers to come back. They'll sprinkle some sugar in there,
That's right. There's way too much sugar. Yeah.
Check out Bloodsoe's Barbecue, man.
I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about.
The chicken is very good. The smoked chicken is very good.
The ribs are great.
Yeah,
I mean,
the brisket's
it's honestly
good.
I know it's in LA, but it's one of my favorite barbecue spots that I've ever been to.
But the pulled pork could be better. It's good. There's not enough flavor. You have to use the sauce. I don't know.
I never get the pulled pork there. Yeah, I get the brisket or the ribs, and then I'll get the potato salad.
Rookie mistake, Kilborn. Never get the pulled pork there.
Oh.
That's how you sounded like. No, I never get the pulled pork.
Never get the pulled pork.
Well, that was fun, buddy.
Yeah, that was great. I love this.
Both times.
Yeah, for sure.
Yesterday and today.
Sorry about that. That's professional broadcaster here.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you again soon, all right?
Sounds good. Thank you, Kilby.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. I want to thank Damien Fahey, cheeseburger fanatic, pizza fanatic. That's our show. We'll see you next time. And remember, young people, I'm proud of you.